Hi, I'm Nico. In this video, we are taking a look at bunker strings by bunker samples. And if you watch my videos, you know that I quite like strings libraries, but you also know that I like weird libraries. And bunker strings definitely fits in both categories because it's a strings library and it's a weird library. Already, the whole concept of it, the way it was recorded, bunker strings, as the name implies, was recorded in a bunker, a real World War II bunker. So I don't know if you've ever been to a concert inside a bunker. I have not, but I would imagine that the sound is quite dry. And this is definitely reflected in this library. Then, bunker strings is not your bread and butter vanilla core strings library. Instead, it's special effects or texture strings library. And lastly, bunker strings is not one strings library. These are actually two strings libraries because you have volume 1 and you have volume 2, and you can buy them separately. But of course, you can also get them as a bundle. So that's it for the introduction. Let's not waste time here and let's have a look directly at what this library is. Here I've loaded from volume 1 the patch called Violin Longs. As you can see, the interface is pretty straightforward. You have control on the amount of round robins, density. This we will take a look at shortly. You have auto purge, and as the name implies, it will just purge the articulations that are not loaded at the time. So if you switch between articulation, you can see here that contact will load only the patch, only the articulation that you are using. You have control on the attack, on the release, on the stereo width, and on the panning. Expression is your regular CC11 fader, but you do not have the regular mod wheel CC1 control over dynamics. Instead, CC1 will control what is named here density. And this just means that when it's all here at the bottom, when CC1 is all down, you will only have one violin playing. And as you go higher and higher, it will add more violins to what you are playing. So let's have a quick listen of what this means. For example, here I've loaded the loud pizzicato tremolo, and I'm going to hold one note. And as I am holding this note, I will move the density up, and you will be able to hear what this CC1 fader does. So let's listen. See, it's actually quite cool. And this, although technically you could emulate it with another strings library, it would take you an insane amount of time to do that. And also, I don't know if you've noticed, but the crossfades between the different layers is pretty seamless. So in Bunker Strings Volume 1 and Volume 2 as well, you have a violin patch, viola, cello, basses, and whole ensemble. And all these patches share the same articulations. So let's have a quick listen through them. So you have the soft pizzicato tremolo, the loud pizzicato tremolo, the drumstick tremolo, playing violin with a drumstick, why not? Then we have the ricochet tremolo. Right. And now we have these three articulations here. And what they do is that they crossfade between existing articulation. For example, we can go from the soft to the loud pizzicato tremolo. This is how it sounds. We have the pizzicato to the drumstick tremolo. And of course, the crossfade between these two articulations is done with CC1 using this density slider. And lastly, we have the pizzicato to the ricochet tremolo. So, as you can probably already imagine by just listening to the violin, this opens a whole world of sonic possibilities. And this is not a synth, and this is what's really cool. These are organic, purely organic instruments, and yeah, it's really opening the the textures possibilities to something that I didn't have before, and I have many strings libraries. Just to show you that all the articulations are shared between patches. This is the cello longs, and you see we have the same as before. So for example, if I take here the ricochet tremolo, or we can take the pizzicato to the drumstick tremolo, awesome. Now, for each of the instruments, you also have a short patch, and this is in volume 1 still. I loaded the viola so you can see, and this is just the drumstick short, but it's just one note. It is not the phrase as we heard before. So and again, you can influence the density with the CC1 fader. And that's more or less all there is to it. To volume 1, it doesn't seem like much, but if you think about it, but I'm sure you figure this out, it's really opening the field of possibilities that you have with samples. There is one bonus patch in volume 1. It's a synth. It contains 7 articulations, and here the CC1 is not having anything to do with the density, but it's morphing between two different layers of the synth. So we will not listen to all of them. I'm sure that you can find walkthroughs about these, but let's, for example, take Sticks in Space. Really nice. And you also have this bass drone that I quite like. I just used it today because this was the sound I was going for. Pretty simple, but extremely well produced. So that's it for volume 1. Now let's have a quick look at volume 2. And as you can see, the interface is more of the same, except that in this one you have a bit more articulations. So let's start with the super sul tasto pulses. And again, this is for the violin patch, the long one in Bunker Strings Volume 2. Really nice sul tasto sound. You have octave pulses, so let's have a listen to how this sounds. Nice. You have tremolo bursts. You have tremolo bursts, but this time with playing sul ponticello, I think it is said, sul pont. Really, really nice, but also really, really dry. Of course, because you can choose the panning that you want, the stereo width that you want, play with the release, and add some reverb. This library is really, really flexible. Now, what would happen if we would take a guitar plectrum and try to play the violin with it? So this is what it would sound like. This is really cool. And as we've seen in volume 1, you can also crossfade between these articulations. So for example, the sul tasto pulses to octave pulses. Nice. And let's pick another one, like the last one, the bursts sul ponticello going to plectrum tremolo. And of course, the crossfade is also done with CC1. This is really, really cool. I like this sound. As I've shown you in volume 1, all the articulations are shared between all the instruments. So for example, here I've loaded the bass longs in volume 2, and you see that the articulations are the same. So for example, let's take the sul tasto pulses to bursts played normal. Great. Same as volume 1, each instrument also has a patch for the short notes. So again, we have a bit more articulations here. Instead of just the pizzicato, we have 3 articulations. So first we have the plectrum pizzicato. And again, the density will set how many players there are. You also have the strum, so taking the plectrum and trying to play the instrument as if it was a guitar, but only the I don't know how you call that in English. In French, we would say dead notes. You know, when you are not playing a chord, it sounds like this. And lastly, we have the plectrum tremolo. You may have noticed that here we have this pizzicato overlay, so let's try to turn it on and play with the plectrum strum. And I don't think I can quite hear a difference. No, so maybe it doesn't do anything to the strum, so let's try the plectrum pizz. No, I do not hear any difference, so maybe I should have a look at the manual. Anyway, this is Bunker Strings Volume 2. We've seen Volume 1 and 2. And now what I would like to do is just to show you a very short scene that I have tried to score using Bunker Strings. So let's have a look at the scene. Right, taken out of context, this scene is not very complicated. It is just a man walking. But what I will try to do is to follow the, the steps of this walking man. And to do that, I will use bunker strings. So this is what I used to score this scene. First, I've used a bunker strings volume 2. There are 5 patches. You can see the name of the articulations that I've used in the patch name. I've used also a bit of bunker strings volume 1, mostly for the only actually for the short articulation. This is to give the, the rhythm of the scene, whereas the volume 2 would give the texture. And I've enhanced that with a bit of piano, just a few chords and arpeggios. And I've also used a bit of tubular bells because I really like tubular bells, and I have a scene before and one that is further where I'm using tubular bells. It's a bit of a recurring instrument in this thing that I'm scoring. So this is what the scene now looks like using bunker strings to score it. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video, that now you have a better idea what bunker strings is. So don't forget these are 2 libraries, volume 1 and volume 2, and you can buy them as a bundle or you can buy them separately. You also know how YouTube works, so if you enjoy my videos, please like and subscribe. And I think, yeah, I'm quite sure of it, that now would be the perfect time to stop watching videos and go write some great music.